The galaxy had been quiet for a long time. Stars burned slowly, planets spun in silence, and great alien civilizations focused on peace. There had been no major war for over 1,000 years. Most alien races believed violence was a thing of the past. They had forgotten what fear felt like. Until the humans came. They came from a small blue planet called Earth. Most galactic species had ignored them. Humans were late to space, weak in numbers, and still fighting among themselves. The Council of Elders, a group of powerful alien leaders, joked that Earth would take another 1,000 years to matter. But they were wrong one day. A strange signal came from the edge of the Orion Arm. It was a human signal, but something was different. It was strong, sharp, and filled with unknown code. The signal came from a new ship, one the galaxy had never seen before. It was named Titanfall. Alien scanners picked it up and laughed. "That's their big ship?" One Zarn officer chuckled, looking at the size. "It looks like a floating coffin," said another. It was true. The shape of the ship was long, flat, and black. No lights, no color. No beauty, just pure metal and silence, but something felt wrong. One older alien general, named Takrun, looked closely at the readings. The energy coming from it is not normal, he whispered. "It's sleeping," said his second in command. "It's not even active." Takrun stared at the dark outline, his hands shaking. "Then we better pray it never wakes up." The ship moved slowly like a ghost drifting through the stars. It didn't answer any hails, didn't respond to scans. Some brave pilots flew near it, trying to make contact. They found no windows, no doors, no clear engines, only a dark surface that seemed to absorb light. One small scout ship got too close and disappeared. No explosion, no signal, just silence. News spread fast. The Council of Elders gathered in a secret meeting. 12 alien races sat around the Great Star Table. "This is Earth's first attempt at a star destroyer," said a Zar diplomat. "They've clearly failed. It's not even responding." Another alien from the cold world of Galactic said, "Then why are ships disappearing near it?" No one had an answer. On Earth, there was no public news about the ship. People knew only that a new project had been launched from a hidden base on Luna's dark side. They didn't know the name Titanfall. They didn't know that it wasn't just a ship. It was a message, a warning. The silence ended on the 7th day. A nearby alien patrol cruiser, Velith Dawn, sent a final message. "We are being scanned. Wait. Something's changing. Oh stars, it's..." And then nothing. The signal cut off in mid-sentence. When rescue ships arrived, there was no trace of Velith Dawn. Only melted pieces of hull floating in cold space. The black ship was gone, vanished. The galaxy was no longer silent because of peace. It was silent because of fear. "What is it doing?" asked a nervous young leader from the Creel Empire. A deep voice answered from the shadows of the council chamber. "Shattering the stillness." That voice belonged to General Salik, a retired war hero who hadn't spoken in 50 years. He stood and looked at the hologram of the ship, now reappearing near the borders of the central systems. "This is no coffin," he said. "It's a hunter." Back near the center of the galaxy, space rippled as Titanfall exited its stealth mode. Its hull shimmered with unknown energy. Tiny drones flew around it, scanning, recording, watching. A nearby mining station went dark as the ship passed. Power drained, lights shut off, and even the emergency beacons failed, as if the ship had eaten its energy like a predator. Inside the ship, no one knew what lived. Was it manned? Was it run by AI? Or something else? No one could say, but all across the stars, one word kept appearing in whispers, in messages and nightmares: Titanfall, and with it came the fear that Earth was no longer behind the rest of the galaxy. Earth had caught up, and Earth had brought something with it that the galaxy had never seen before. Not a weapon, not a warning, but a promise. The silence was broken, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The stars watched quietly as Titanfall moved across the void. It made no sound, showed no weapons, and offered no message until today. And when it finally spoke, its voice did not sound like a machine. It sounded like something alive, something that had been waiting. A small alien convoy from the Juriac system had entered the same region of space. They were just traders, not fighters. Their ships carried food, minerals, and artifacts. But as they came close to the human ship, all their screens went black, and then a voice spoke through every speaker on every ship. "This is Titanfall. You are entering Earth's secured zone. Leave." The voice was deep, slow, and had no emotion, yet it made every alien freeze. It was not a question, not a request, it was a command. The convoy captain, a large bug-like alien named Chit, panicked. "We're peaceful. We're not enemies." He shouted. There was no reply. One of his crew tried to scan Titanfall. That was a mistake. In the next second, a beam of invisible light touched their ship. No explosion, no fire, just a short flash. And the scanning ship was gone, only dust floated where it had been. The rest of the convoy turned and ran without looking back. Back at the Galactic Council, news came fast. Now it wasn't just a mystery, it was a threat. "They are claiming territory," shouted a council member. "They're using fear to take control." An elder from the cold star worlds whispered. That voice. It wasn't just AI, she sounded human. On Earth, the military command center deep under Antarctica remained silent. Inside, only a few humans knew the truth. Titanfall was part of a secret plan called Project Revenant. Its purpose was to end the galaxy's belief that Earth was weak. But even they didn't expect Titanfall to act so soon. The ship was built with ancient alien tech discovered on Mars. It had materials no human scientist could fully understand. And at its heart, connected to the ship's mind, was a human captain. Elara Mace. She was chosen not for her strength, but for her pain. She had lost everything in Earth's last war. Now she had become the voice of Titanfall. Elara sat in a dark chamber deep inside the ship. Wires ran into her body. Data flowed into her brain. The eye watched the galaxy like a chessboard. Elara felt it breathing, thinking, and planning together. They had one goal: make the galaxy fear Earth, so that Earth would never be threatened again. A large alien warship named Ractal was sent to investigate. It was built for battle, full of weapons and shields. As it neared Titanfall, its captain laughed. "They think this one ship can stop us?" he said. The crew of Ractal locked weapons and prepared to fire. Suddenly, the voice returned. "You are warned. This is your last chance." The alien captain ignored it. "Fire everything," he ordered. Missiles, lasers, plasma, all fired at once toward Titanfall. But just before impact, the weapons stopped in mid-space, frozen like statues in the air. Then, they slowly turned around. The Ractal crew screamed as their own weapons were thrown back at them. In seconds, the mighty warship was destroyed. Not by human hands, but by its own power, redirected by Titanfall. Panic spread like wildfire. Alien broadcasts screamed warnings. "Stay away from Earth space. Titanfall cannot be stopped." The Council ordered all ships to hold position. Fear was taking over reason. Some aliens believed Titanfall was a cursed ship. Others thought it was alive. Many believed it was both. But all agreed on one thing: its voice was now the loudest. In the galaxy, deep in space, Elara opened her eyes. Her thoughts were full of memories, her home destroyed. Her people laughed at, her planet ignored. She had begged for help during Earth's wars. But no aliens came. Now they listened. Now they trembled. Now they feared. "Good," she whispered. "Let them know what silence created." And so Titanfall drifted again, not in hiding but in control, wherever it went. Stars dimmed and voices grew quiet, because when Titanfall spoke, everyone listened, and when it warned, no one dared to answer back. The galaxy had seen powerful ships before. It had watched giant dreadnoughts tear through space. It had known weapons that could burn cities from orbit. But Titanfall was something different. It was not just powerful, it was quiet, calm, and unstoppable. and that was what made it terrifying. No one could explain how it attacked. There were no visible weapons. No bright lasers, no roaring engines. Ships simply disappeared. Stations went dark. Fleets vanished in the silence of space. The Zarn Armada, one of the oldest and proudest fleets in the galaxy, decided to study it. They sent 12 scout ships to orbit Titanfall from a safe distance. Their plan was to scan from every angle, collect data, and return. Each scout was equipped with stealth tech, cloaking fields, and signal jammers. They believed they could stay hidden. They were wrong. As the scouts approached, Titanfall remained still. No shields came up, no alarms sounded. It looked like it didn't even notice them. But one by one, the scouts began to vanish from the grid. No explosions, no cries for help. Just a sudden cut to black in the control room of the Zarn flagship. Officers panicked. Their signals are gone. One shouted, "Switch to backup scans." Another ordered, but nothing worked. Even their strongest systems could not find the missing ships. Then, a strange pulse echoed through space. Not a weapon, something different. A wave of data, a ripple of unknown code. It passed through every ship in the fleet, causing lights to flicker and screens to flash. For a moment, the flagship's computer showed one single image. An eye, cold, human, and watching. The Zarn commander stood in silence, his mouth dry, his hands shaking. "Is IT reading us?" he whispered. The image vanished, and with it, the final scout signal disappeared. 12 ships lost, and Titanfall had not moved an inch. Across the stars, fear became confusion. No one knew how the ship was destroying its enemies. There were no weapon ports, no missile bays, no energy trails. How could a ship fight with nothing? Back on Earth, only a few knew the truth. Titanfall used something humans called phase shift fields, a new kind of technology based on ancient alien ruins found on Mars. It didn't fire like a normal ship. It phased energy into the structure of space itself. It could bend light, twist gravity, and rewrite physics around it. To the galaxy, it was invisible. To Titanfall, everything was exposed. But Titanfall didn't just destroy. It learned. Every ship it erased, every station it silenced, gave it more data. I grew smarter with each encounter, and inside its dark core, Elara Mace watched it all with quiet fury. She didn't enjoy the destruction, but she remembered the years Earth begged for help. When alien empires ignored Earth's distress signals, when they let Earth burn, calling it a minor planet not worth saving. Now they sent fleets to stop Titanfall. Now they paid attention. In the middle of the Virex cluster, a hidden science lab watched Titanfall carefully. They had cameras, drones, and long-range sensors pointed at the ship. They recorded everything, or so they thought. Their leader, Dr. Kincher, stared at the monitors as the ship floated into view. "I want everything scanned," he said. "We need to understand how it works." The drones flew toward Titanfall, small and silent. They sent data back: temperature, energy readings, structure scans. Everything seemed fine. Then the data stopped, one by one. The drones blinked out of existence, not destroyed, erased, as if they had never been there. Dr. Kincher gasped, "What kind of weapon is this?" His assistant pointed to the screen. "Sir, it's looking at us." On the main monitor, that same human eye appeared again, but this time it blinked. A second later, the entire lab lost power. Lights died, systems crashed. The air felt heavy, and on every device, in every language, appeared a single message: "Do not watch the storm." By the time the emergency systems came back online, Titanfall was gone, not a trace left. No trail to follow, just fear and questions with no answers. Throughout the galaxy, the same story repeated. Ships tried to study Titanfall, and each time they vanished or returned broken. Some crew members whispered in madness, others could not speak at all. The galaxy now knew the truth. Titanfall was not just strong, it was unknowable. Unseen, unheard, untouched. Until it chose to strike, it was a shadow, a phantom, a storm wrapped in steel. And worst of all, it was human, the great Council Hall. Located inside a hollowed-out asteroid near the center of the galaxy, had not seen this much fear in centuries. 12 species, each one powerful and proud, sat in a circle of golden seats. Their faces were different fur, scales, feathers, metal, but their eyes all showed the same thing: panic. Floating screens in the middle of the chamber played recent footage. Alien ships vanishing into lightless space, drones crumbling into dust, messages from survivors screaming about a ghost ship. In the center, the image of Titanfall, still black, still silent, still watching. But now no one was laughing. Council leader, high-voiced Tulrek of the Vari, raised one trembling hand. "We must act now," he said, his voice thin. "Before it crosses into the core worlds." A diplomat from the Zarketh clanged his metal claws against the table. "Destroy it. All fleets to arms. This thing is a threat to all life." Another, from the Vellani, hissed, "How do you destroy a shadow?" "Our weapons do not touch it." Old General Salik, the only member who had seen galactic war before the Peace Age, stood slowly. "The humans warned us," he said, voice deep and calm. "They asked for help when their world burned. We ignored them. Now they bring justice." "This is not justice," spat a member of the crystalline Norak species. "This is madness. Ships vanish without warning. Stations die without sound. They use no armies. Mean no rules." A hush fell over the room. Each member watched the footage again, and this time, they noticed something new. The destruction was not random. Titanfall was not killing for fun. It was only striking those who attacked it or tried to spy on it. It was sending a message: leave Earth alone. "But if we let this go on," Talrek said, voice cracking, "they will take more space. They will spread their power until we are forced to bow." General Salik stepped forward again, eyes sharp. "Perhaps it is time someone else ruled." The words hit the room like thunder. Everyone shouted at once. "No! We are the protectors of the stars. This is human arrogance. Earth is just a child with a weapon it does not understand." Some members demanded full war, others begged for talks. The council was breaking apart. Old alliances turned cold. Trust shattered like glass. In the background, Titanfall moved again, slowly approaching the trade routes that linked over 50 civilizations. Meanwhile, on board Titanfall, Elara stood in the ship's core chamber. The lights pulsed around her, quiet and alive. The I voice echoed. "The council is breaking. Their unity fractures." Elara nodded, her face calm. "That was always the truth," she said. "They were united only when Earth was small. Now that we have power, they show fear." She turned to a glowing panel showing Earth, far away but strong. Children played under blue skies. Families walked in peace. Factories built new ships. She smiled. "We will protect them," she whispered, "even if the stars burn." Back at the council, the meeting was falling apart. One species walked out, refusing war. Another sent a secret message to Earth, asking for peace. A third began moving war fleets without permission. Chaos. A quiet voice spoke from the corner. It belonged to Zali, a blind philosopher of the Serati. She had not spoken in over a decade. "Listen," she said, her voice like a breeze. "Do you not see the truth? This ship is not just a weapon. It is a test." Everyone turned to her, silent. "A test of who we are." She continued. "Do we strike again, like before, and risk the end? Or do we finally learn to listen?" For a moment, the council was quiet. Then the silence shattered, more shouting, more blame. But Zali's words had settled like seeds. Not all would forget them. In secret, some alien leaders began pulling back their forces. Others sent envoys to human space under different names. The balance of power was shifting. And Titanfall hadn't fired a single shot in days. But then, something changed. A rogue alien commander named Vask of the Kroger species launched an attack without orders. He believed Titanfall was vulnerable. He believed wrong. 3 full squadrons entered human space. They fired missiles, used gravity bombs, and launched hacking drones. The sky around them turned black. Titanfall awoke. From the silence came sound, a deep hum that cracked nearby asteroids. The stars blinked, sensors went blind, gravity twisted, and in a flash, the alien fleet was gone. Not a single piece remained. In the council hall, alarms screamed. A message appeared on every screen, human text. Translated instantly. "We do not seek war, but we will not kneel." It was signed Titanfall, first of Earth's guardians, and suddenly, all those golden seats felt very, very cold. The stars around Sector 14A were quiet. Ships moved slowly, patrols watched from far, and trade had nearly stopped. Everyone was waiting, holding their breath, because Titanfall was there. It hovered just above a dead moon, black against the starlight. Its surface pulsed softly, like it was breathing. For days it had done nothing. No attack, no signal, no threat. But that silence felt louder than any cannon fire across the sector. The alien cruiser Bladewind waited. Captain Voran of the Drex Dominion stood tall in his command seat. He was a veteran, covered in scars, his armor gleaming red. "We won't wait forever," he growled. "They think fear will stop us." His second officer, a younger Drex, looked nervous. "Captain, this is not like the other battles," he said. "We saw the report ships disappear without trace." Voran slammed his fist on the console. "I fear nothing built by humans," he said. "Charge the weapons, back on Earth." Deep within the Antarctic control bunker, Elara Mace stood in silence. She could feel it. Titanfall was watching, linked to the ship through neural threads. Her thoughts became its commands. Its sensors became her eyes, its anger her heartbeat. "They've come," she whispered. "They want war." The AI responded in a soft voice. "Shall we warn them?" Elara looked up at the display, watching Bladewind power its weapons. Her jaw tightened. "No," she said. "Let them speak first, in space." Bladewind moved into position, aiming its main plasma lance at Titanfall. The Drex were not just aggressive, they were proud. They wanted to fight, and now they had won. "Open fire." Captain Voran roared. 5 plasma beams shot out at once, glowing blue-white, tearing through the void. They hit Titanfall directly, lighting up the black hull. The explosion was massive, so bright. It blinded nearby drones. Smoke, dust, and static filled the air. Direct hit. Voran shouted, pride in his voice. But then, the light cleared and Titanfall was still there. Untouched, its black armor shimmered like calm water, not even scratched. And for the first time, it moved, not fast, not loud, just slow and steady. Like a mountain waking up. A deep sound echoed through space. Not a siren, not a scream, something older. Something primal. Every ship nearby felt it, not through speakers, but in their bones. It was a war cry. Titanfall's first, Captain Voran stepped back, eyes wide. What is that?" he asked. No one answered. The ship's hull opened slowly, revealing a circle of glowing blue light. It wasn't a cannon, not in the normal sense. It was something different, something alive, energy gathered in silence. Not buzzing or shaking, just building like a storm behind a closed door. Then in one instant, it released. A single beam, thin as a needle, shot out. It didn't explode. Didn't burn it, sliced, clean, cold, and perfect. The Bladewind split in half without warning. No fire, no warning alarms, just silence and then death. Half the ship spun away slowly, the other half crumbled into pieces. The rest of the Drex fleet turned to flee, but Titanfall wasn't finished. Tiny drones launched from its underbelly, hundreds of them. They didn't attack, they simply flew beside the fleeing ships and shut them down. One by one, engines died, weapons failed, systems froze, like the ships had just fallen asleep. Titanfall sent a message, not a threat, not a demand, just a voice, calm and human. "This was your choice. We do not seek destruction, but we will not stand aside." In the Galactic Council, the news hit like a meteor. Entire fleets crippled. Drex ships floating helpless in space, and Titanfall remained untouched. Some screamed for retaliation, others begged for peace. But all now understood one truth: Earth had built something they couldn't defeat. Back inside the ship, Elara stood quietly, her hands behind her back. She didn't smile. She didn't cheer. She just watched as the galaxy finally listened. She thought about her planet, about the years they were ignored, and now their voice had been heard clear, sharp, and unforgettable. Titanfall continued to drift across the stars. No celebration, no music, no flag, only silence. Because when a god speaks, it doesn't need to shout. The galaxy had seen the firepower of Titanfall. It had watched fleets vanish and empires tremble. But few understood the deeper truth. This ship was not just a machine. It had a heart, and that heart was human, inside the core chamber of Titanfall. Elara Mace stood still. Wires ran through her suit, glowing softly. Her eyes stared at the endless stars. But her mind was connected to everything. She was the soul. Inside the monster, the I voice, calm and perfect, spoke to her. Enemy ships disabled. No new threats detected. Awaiting your next order. Elara didn't answer right away. Her thoughts were heavy. She remembered her childhood before all of this, running through grass fields on Earth, laughing with her brother, dreaming of stars, not war. But Earth had suffered. They had begged the Council for help during the Black Rain crisis. When alien pollution nearly wiped out all crops, no one came. No aid for backward planets. They said, so Earth suffered alone. And now, they had created Titanfall, not for revenge, but for safety. To make sure no one ignored Earth again. Elara touched a glowing panel. The ship responded like a living creature, breathing, humming, listening. She wasn't a commander. Not in the normal way. She was a part of the ship, linked by mind, emotion, and memory. The AI, known only as Echo, wasn't just code. It had grown, learned, and felt. It watched Elara's pain and understood it. Why do you hesitate? It asked her gently. We were attacked, we defended. That is logical. Yes, Elara said softly. But not everything is logic. She looked at the damage reports, so many lives lost. Even on the enemy side, the Drex were enemies. Yes, but also people. She didn't want to become what she once feared. Far away, on the edge of Council territory, whispers were growing. Some said Titanfall was a mindless killer. Others said it was a cursed ship controlled by ancient evil. But a few had seen something else. Moments when the ship spared life. Times when it sent warnings before firing. That wasn't just programming. That was choice. One alien, Captain Viral of the Glasson people, had watched a strange thing happen. Her patrol ship had drifted too close to Titanfall by accident. They expected death, but the human ship just turned and left. No attack, no warning, just silence. That silence, she believed, was mercy. Back inside the ship, Elara reviewed a new report. A small alien colony near the border had sent a distress signal. A nearby black hole was pulling their station off orbit. The Council refused to help. They feared a trap. But Elara read the signal again. It wasn't fake. It was real terror. Real families crying for help. We should go, she said to Echo. It is outside our protected zone, the AI replied. I know, Elara said, but it's the right thing. Without waiting, she gave the command. Titanfall changed direction, stars shifting around its massive frame. It moved with speed, but not violence. This time, it was not coming as a weapon. It was coming as a guardian. When the colony saw Titanfall, they panicked at first. Children hid, alarms sounded, families prepared for the end. But the black ship did not attack. It opened ports and launched small support drones. They wrapped around the station, forming a tether system to pull it from the black hole's grip. It was a slow, delicate operation. No weapons, just engineering. And it worked. The colony was saved. The people watched in silence as the massive ship turned to leave. No words, no reward asked. Just one simple message left behind. You are safe. Earth remembers. That message spread like fire across the galaxy. Stories changed. Titanfall was still feared, yes, but now it was also respected. And some began to believe it was not just a weapon, but a protector with purpose. Back at the council, reactions were mixed. Some called it a trick. Others whispered, what if they're building peace through strength? A new idea was forming, one more dangerous than war. An idea that Earth might lead not by force alone, but by example. Elara sat quietly in her chamber, eyes closed, heart beating steady. Echo pulsed beside her, its voice softer now. Do you feel peace? It asked. She opened her eyes and smiled. No, she said, not yet, but we're getting there. The galaxy was changing. It wasn't war that changed it. It was the silence that followed. A silence filled not with fear, but with thought. The kind of silence that comes when a storm has passed, and people begin to rebuild. Titanfall had become more than a ship. It was now a symbol, a shadow that floated between stars. Not hunting, not hiding, just watching. Wherever it appeared, chaos slowed down. Conflicts froze. Borders softened. Because no one wanted to challenge it again. After saving the Glasson colony, Titanfall vanished for 10 days. Some said it went to Earth. Others believed it entered unknown space. But when it returned, it came not with weapons, but with words. A message was broadcast to every major empire. It was short, clear, and direct. Earth does not seek to rule, but Earth will not kneel. If you want war, we will answer. If you want peace, we will meet. For the first time in generations, the Galactic Council agreed on something. They sent an invitation, not to Earth's leaders, but to Titanfall itself. A strange request, but one made out of respect and caution. Titanfall accepted. At the center of the galaxy, on the neutral station called Solon's Gate, a great hall was prepared, not for battle, but for peace. Ships from 50 worlds arrived, each one carrying diplomats, leaders, scientists, and observers. All came to see the ship that had rewritten the balance of power. When Titanfall approached, it didn't come alone. A small escort followed, other human ships, smaller and newer, but none dared outshine the black giant. It docked in silence, its surface smooth like glass. Then a door opened, and Elara Mace stepped out. She didn't wear armor. She wore a simple Earth uniform, gray, clean, without rank. Her face was calm, her steps firm. She walked into the hall alone, no guards, no weapons, just one voice to speak for her planet. The council members stood as she entered. Even the Drex delegation, still bitter from their defeat, rose to meet her. Old General Salik nodded in quiet. Respect. This is the woman who commands the storm, he whispered to his aide. Elara stood at the center and spoke, not like a conqueror, not like a warrior, but like someone who had lost, learned, and returned stronger. We built Titanfall not to control you, she said. We built it because we were alone when we needed help, and we swore no other world would feel that same silence again. She looked around the room, eyes steady. If you want war, she said, we can give you war. But if you want peace, she paused, we can give something better. The room was silent for a long moment. Then Zali of the Sarati, the blind philosopher, stood up. I hear truth in her voice, she said. And I would rather follow a voice of reason than a scream of fear. Slowly, others began to speak, one by one. Species long divided began to find common ground. Talks began slow, painful, and filled with old wounds, but they began. Titanfall remained above the station, watching but not interfering. It was a reminder peace was a choice, but strength stood ready if that choice was broken. Back on Earth, people celebrated not with fireworks but with hope. For the first time, the stars didn't feel distant, they felt open. And humans were no longer just visitors. They were part of the galaxy. In the quiet of the command chamber, Elara sat beside Echo. The Ai's voice was soft, almost warm. You have changed their view, it said. No, Elara replied. We just reminded them of what they forgot. Echo paused, then asked, what now? Elara looked at the stars outside, glowing softly in the dark. "We keep flying," she said. "We help when needed, and we keep the peace." Because peace wasn't a reward, it was a duty. One earned with fire, but held with heart. Titanfall slowly turned from Solin's gate. Its engines hummed. Its shadow passed over the station like a passing cloud. It left not as a weapon, but as a guardian, and across the galaxy, stories would be told for generations about the black ship that shattered the stillness and the human heart that steered it toward peace.